My Me Too story. So, some of you may have followed some videos I was posting last month and the month before about how I want to forgive my ex-stepfather for what he did to me, and we're in a process of reconciliation. Now, this has become difficult to talk about because people do not want other people to forgive sexual predators. They don't want them to. There has been, while I have had a few supporters, people who actually understand what the fuck forgiveness is and how it's more for the victim than the person, but also, you know what, like, I mean, you don't have to be religious, spiritual, whatever, like real forgiveness. And let's talk about forgiveness in the Bible, since that's what a lot of people are familiar with. Real forgiveness means forgiveness. It means being able to share a meal with someone again and that kind of stuff. It is a peace for the heart and the spirit that brings healing, ideally for both parties. And one of the arguments that I have heard that I may have agreed with at one point in time, but now that I'm older and wiser, I don't agree with, is that all sexual predators are the same. There was a time in my life where I was like, Thanos, all of them away. However, I don't think that, I not only do I not think, I know that it's not all the same. Life isn't black and white. Crime isn't black and white. There are some things that, I would say are unforgivable, yet I would still hope that those survivors might find a way to forgive for their own sake, like even if it's like, okay, so-and-so was born with brain damage, we're just making shit up, brain damage or whatever, and this was awful, but I'm gonna let it go for my own sake or whatever. Anyways, first, let me say that I have always been incredibly touched by all of the support for what happened to me. I don't think that I could have made it through what I made it through. And I've healed as well as I have without that support. That being said, this is my life. This is my healing journey. No one else gets to tell me what I can and cannot do and how I should and should not do it, especially at my age. It's okay to still be like, I'm so sorry for what happened to you, blah, 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 horrible person, blah, blah, blah. You can still say all that. You can still say all that and respect my healing journey, and that I'm choosing for not only forgiveness, but reconciliation. Because for me, my ex-stepfather was like a father figure to me, and when everything happened, I lost a very cherished relationship. We're still in this process, and I believe that we're going to try and see a counselor together at least once before he relocates. He's planning to move to South America and retire there. He's in his 70s now. He's an old man. He's been on the sex offender list for over 20-something years. What happened, well over 20 years ago. I'm 42 now. It was between 13 and 15. And then we were in and out of court until I was 18. And to be completely honest, going through the legal system fucked me up even more. I'm still glad I did it, because not many people do. Less than 3% of people who report actually go through the legal system. But I feel like he's suffered enough. I feel like I've suffered enough, and I want to heal. I want my heart to be lightened, and I, want him to have a few good years. I think he has had some good years, but free of you know, this weight that we've both been carrying. You know, we have been talking regularly about what happened and other stuff, and it's been a really interesting thing. And he's wrote me some really really sincere apologies for what he did. And it's no one's business what the details of all of that are. You know, I have made work and videos about my Me Too experiences in order to let other survivors know that they're not alone, and in order to raise awareness about stuff. And I'm also hoping now to show other survivors and their families and stuff that what healing can look like. The first few conversations I had with the ex-stepfather, you know, were difficult. And there've been times, like, we try to talk about what happened in small doses, because it does start to upset me at times. Like, mentally, I'm okay. It's my body. You know, your mind and your heart and your body aren't always in the same place, and my body still freaks out a little bit. But it's gotten better. You know, I kind of see it as like exposure therapy. We talk a little bit here, and a little bit there, and a little bit there, you know, and slowly getting more comfortable, you know, because it's not like I'm afraid of him now. I mean, he's an old man, you know, he's got a bunch of health issues, can barely move his hands and stuff like that. Like, he hasn't harassed me in a really long time. And come to find out, like, he did admit to, you know, a few things, but apparently, supposedly, he was unaware of some of the shit that his cronies were doing. And after listening to the story, I have a pretty good idea of who was behind a lot of the shit. I had forgotten Dan had a brother named Ronnie, who was a drug addict, who broke into my mother's apartment before her and my ex-stepfather were living together, stole a bunch of stuff, including my parents' wedding rings, which were supposed to go to me, you know, Christmas gifts and things like that. And Dan supported her in pressing charges against him, so she did, and he went to prison for a year. And pretty sure that he was behind a lot of shit to do with harassment and my mom and stuff. You know, that's one of the things that's been interesting about opening up this dialogue, is being reminded of the other people who were around and the other things, and just all the stuff. And I'm glad that I have, because for me, healing is easier when I can see all the pieces of the puzzle, or more pieces of the puzzle, in order to be able to put the picture in my head of what most likely was going on. You know, like, I mean, before these phone calls, I had like a very narrow window, because I didn't pay attention to most of these people and stuff like that when I was younger. Anyways, I decided to make this video tonight because I had a dream. And my sister, I recently blocked my sister because she just lost her shit over the fact that I was talking to Dan again. And I don't know whether my mom only reads, watches some of my Facebook stuff, so I don't know whether she actually knows or not. I need to have a talk with her about it soon. You know, because I imagine that she's going to freak out, but I'm not sure. I hope not. But, you know, I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, I'm not going to succumb to peer pressure from other people. This is my healing journey. If they're not ready to heal, that's fine, but they can't stop or control mine, and I will not be controlled by peer pressure. I will cut anyone out of my life who tries to put peer pressure on me because of whatever, you know, like, that's how it is. That's how it's going to be. I'm an autonomous adult. Other people can go fuck themselves. So anyways, if you support my healing journey, thank you. And if you don't, then either keep your mouth shut or go away. All right?